started going through those slides. We're hoping that everybody could just, it looks like everybody's already in pretty good groups. So you guys could just be in a group of 2, a group of 3, and a group of 4 here. And we were just hoping you guys could talk in your group first about times that you've encountered stereotypes. So anything that somebody has assumed about you that they don't know actually to be true, but based on one or more of your quality, or one of your like external traits that they can see about you. So maybe you're a cheerleader and they assume something based on that. You're in a sorority, they assume something based on that, or sports, anything like that. So just talk amongst yourselves for just a minute, and then I'll ask you guys to share some of the things that you thought of.
This is grade level 11 English content area.
Yes. Maybe just another 15 seconds for this question. Alright, what did you guys come up with? What are some things that you guys have encountered?
Being from Johnson County.
Being from Johnson County.
What stereotype is that?
We were taught at Catholic high school, so it's just like lots of money and has an attitude and so there's just a lot that goes with that one.
Yeah. And is it true throughout Johnson County that that's?
No, I mean, I'm sure there's people in there that do have it, but I don't.
It's not across the board?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything that they wanted to share?
The fraternity thing.
Are you in a fraternity?
Well, yeah, I've done that one quite a bit.
What do people assume based on that?
Oh, just typical frat boy, wearing all the chubbies, my Sperry's, I got party 7 days a week, I don't go to class, just those typical things.
And you're here in class?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else?
We kind of talk about like being from Kansas, everybody farms, which I farm, so, but I get that with other people a lot.
The Northeast Toto kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially with people from like outside of our region.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you guys for sharing those. So Rachel's going to share a little presentation about American-Born Chinese, which again is a graphic novel, and it deals a lot with stereotypes and with race identity, because the boy is he's American, but he's also Chinese, and his family is Chinese, and so just there's a lot of things that people assume about him based on that.
So this is a young adult graphic novel, and this is one of the first scenes where we see this cultural identity and stereotyping in the book. He's going to a new school, and his teacher assumes that he's straight from China, and he's like, I'm from San Francisco. And she kind of,
One of the boys assumes that they eat dogs, and the teacher's like, oh no, they stopped doing that whenever they came to America, I bet. And doesn't even let him explain his own identity.
and he purposely avoided this other girl who looks Asian because he knew that they were going to stereotype them together. So, and then throughout the novel, he kind of wrestles with this identity of being Asian, but also being American-born. And he has a new friend come to school, and they kind of go through the same thing, that he's from Taiwan, and they automatically assume he's from China. And he kind of definitely avoids him and makes fun of him for how he speaks, to kind of separate himself from the group. Go ahead and get back into your groups and kind of discuss what are some stereotypes that you see just in these two scenes that we've shown you. So that's the one I've talked about. So we'll discuss that for a second.
Also, a couple things that you can't see are like this professor is, or this teacher is really struggling with the kid's name, calls them Chin Chin Chun, I think. Just kind of guessing at his name. And that happened on the previous page too. Maybe that'll affect your conversation.
I could even have that here. I can even see that in case they, they're there. The basketball players, you know, they have to, yeah. And then just the whole, say your time.
So have you guys seen these stereotypes before? Or are these familiar to you, especially with Asian culture and American culture? What specifically stands out to you guys as something that you've seen before?
The grouping them together, like how we said we wanted to avoid the other girl, like I feel like we even do that here, like just at K-State, because they really get on our nerves, per se. But, like just grouping them together, like, oh, okay, they're all the same, they automatically, they may not know each other at all, but instantly we group them as knowing each other, or they're pretty much exactly the same.
Or even assuming that they want to know each
Oh,
other,
yeah,
that
yeah.
they want to be each other's friends. Anybody else have anything that they see in this that you're like, oh yeah, that's real life?
A lot of my wife's students are foreign, and they, a lot of them just sort of adopt American names just to avoid that very thing.
Yeah.
Later in the novel, our main character adopts the name Danny, and he kind of becomes this typical American kid with blonde hair, very popular. And we see that later, and then he goes into this de-transformation when he goes back into what he looks like now. And it's just interesting because he wants to be this American kid, but then he realizes all the great things about his culture too. So, just as a class, what are some stereotypes that your parents hold that you've seen, like either they brought down to you or that you've seen in general?
And kind of our point in asking this isn't to say, like, oh, your parents are awful people and they have a lot of stereotypes. But I think it's easy for us as, like, from a younger, maybe it seems more like a more progressive generation, it's easy to look at our parents and think like, well, you know, things are different for them. Things are different for our grandparents. Are there things that you see in your parents that you're like, well, that's not a stereotype I hold, but that's something that I've seen from, like, older generations?
Gay people,
Gay
Stuff.
people?
yeah, stuff like that, mainly.
Just, my family's extremely Republican, so extreme stereotypes against Democrats, any like, if you're barely Democrat at all, you fit the mold, is completely to the T. I think that's one that we probably see a lot in Kansas.
Yeah. Even maybe lifestyle elements that resemble Democrats to,
Oh, yeah,
or
they
for the
just-
other side, Republicans, you know? So maybe if, I know, my parents, it's like that. Maybe if they see somebody who, is smoking a cigar or wearing a big beard or something, they assume that it's like the young, like, hippie type. And that's a stereotype, so. And then our last question was, how do you think that those things have transferred to you? Do you think that there's any stereotypes, like, these things are, it's easy to look at this book and see, okay, I've seen that happen, but not to think, like, and I've thought that way, and that has been me, that's been the perpetuator of these stereotypes. Are there any things that you can look at in your life and see, okay, I know that this has been an issue in the past, and maybe it could be perpetuated if I don't, you know, consciously change my view. So that's just a thought we more wanted to leave you with, I think. But we did want you guys to fill out an exit ticket. If you guys have some paper that you could pull out.
I was,
Okay, and then as an exit ticket question, we're just gonna ask you guys, do you think that it's a good idea to keep a graphic novel like this in the high school level? And why are we not?
those up at